morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eva. Welcome to our one-day workshop on International Standard on Quality Management. Today, we are honored to have with us Dr. Ramesh Ruben, who holds an MBA from University of Strathclyde in UK. He graduated with a distinction and a PhD from where his research was on audit quality. He is a fellow of ACCA and a member of MIA and MICPA, as well as a chartered member of IIAM.
It has been 3 years, nearly 3 years since we last had our physical seminar. Normally, we have our physical seminar once a year. We try to do it at least 1 year, one physical seminar. But because of COVID, that's why we have not been having any seminar. The last one we did was same place, Concord Hotel as well, and that was on 6th and 7th of January 2020. So that'll be nearly 3 years ago, and that was on this MFRS, Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards.
Previously, under ISQC1, you don't have to look at what is your firm's risk. You just do only. But now, under ISQM management, you have to do risk assessment first. Then only you will actually come up with the policies and procedure. That means the more risk you have, the more different your risk is, your policy and procedure will also have to follow and change accordingly. So for example, you don't do PLC audit versus you do PLC audit. Your risk will be different. Since your risk is different, your policy and procedure will also be different. You do only MPERS audit. Your client all only using MPERS. You don't do any audit where the client use MFRS. Your risk also different. So since your risk different, your policy and procedure also different. You only do trading, manufacturing. You don't do any specialized activity like property development, construction, plantation. Your risk also different. Since your risk different, policy and procedure also different. Now, there are 4 stages in the setting up process or the implementation process. Phase 1 is to gather information. Anytime we do risk assessment, we need to have information. We cannot assess risk without information. To know whether something is risky or not risky, we need to understand the situation or the circumstance first. Now, part of information gathering is also to align the firm. So what information are we gathering? We are going to look at what kind of information we are going to gather for risk assessment. Now, once we have gathered that information, we need to compare it with the quality objectives. Later, we are also going to see the quality objectives. Right? Altogether, there are 38 quality objectives. Now, step 1, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, by right, you should have completed 3 days ago. 5 days ago. 15 December. Okay, but since we have concession, we still got some breathing time. We haven't got it yet, still is okay. But step 4, the last one, monitoring. The monitoring will only take place next year. 1 year from 15 December 2022, which is 15 December 2023. Alright, so that is the 4 stages or phases in implementing ISQM1. Now, when you do an audit and your firm doesn't have network, one of the objective not applicable. Or you do an audit or your firm doesn't use a service provider. So what is service provider? Service provider is you use somebody, another external party, when performing your engagement. So let's say you have contract staff. If you use contract staff, that means you're engaging another so-called contractor. Actually, not that kind of construction contractor, but a contractor that's providing professional staff. Whichever firm got not enough staff, we can contract staff to you. But now you've outsourced the staff, right? You also need to make sure they are also independent, isn't it? That's when you use a service provider. Or another example, you do the job is complex. You also not sure. No one in your firm also sure. So what do? Engage a consultant to come and help you, right? That is considered to be a service provider. They're providing their service to help you to ensure that whatever work that you have done in the audit is sufficient and covered, and the report issued is appropriate. Service provider. So maybe you don't use a service provider, then not applicable. AE, auditor expert. Another expert which is not part of the audit firm, which you engage. Let's say, for example, this audit got a lot of legal problem, a lot of contracts, and the contracts are very complicated. I read also, I cannot understand. So what do? You engage a lawyer to help you during the course of the audit. Not engaged by your client, engaged by you. That is an auditor expert. So since this auditor expert, i.e. the lawyer, is coming in to help you as part of the audit, you also need to make sure that lawyer is ethical, isn't it? That lawyer is independent, right? But if you don't use an auditor expert, they're not applicable. And lastly, component auditor. What is a component auditor? Who want to share with me? What is a component auditor? Anybody? Component auditor? Okay, auditor of a subsidiary which is not your firm or your network. Another audit firm. Do you all do group audit? Do you do group audit where the subsidiary is another audit firm? So you have component auditor. Now, when you do a group audit where you are the holding company auditor, you are known as the principal auditor. Now, as the job of the principal auditor, one of your responsibility is to ensure that the component auditor is also independent. That's why for those of you who have done group audit, I'm not sure whether you know, you ask the component auditor to declare independence to you, right? It's inside what we call as the GAI, Group Audit Instruction. One of the letter inside the group audit instruction is asking the component auditor to sign and declare that they are independent. This is a requirement of ISA 600, group audit.